Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Julien.
And I'm Kiersten.
And today we want to talk to you about impact investing. Well, actually, we want to talk about this mini doc that we released, which we're calling Taste the Impact. Now, if you know us, we love talking about money and we love pairing it with food. You see what I did there?
Always hungry.
But this topic, I think, is really perfect for the times that we're in. So first things first, what is Taste the Impact?
I love that I got to do the elevator pitch. Because Taste the Impact is about food, but not really. It's about money, but not really.
Yeah.
It's really about the fact that every single time we eat, every time we spend, every time we invest, we're literally making decisions that shape the world, whether we realize it or not. And once you see it, it's one of those things that you can't really unsee. And so we went into this thinking like, cool, let's talk about impact investing. But the deeper we dug, the clearer it became that some of our investments are actually fueling the same companies that are making us sick. So in the documentary, the mini doc, the op doc, we sit down with Rihanna Lynn, who is an investor and a scientist, and she breaks down why food is one of the most overlooked places where money and power collide. Then we hit up Nourish and Bloom, which is a couple that turned a grocery store into this tech-driven solution. And in the process, we start connecting the dots between health, wealth, climate, power, women, all the things. So if you are just even a little curious about how you can use your money to improve your quality of life, you should definitely watch it. And you should also join an Invest for Better circle, where the information is in the description.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about why we wanted to make Taste the Impact.
For me, it was like reading the room. I just got tired of the same surface level conversations about investing, like how to make more money, how to maximize returns, blah, blah, blah. Like that's important, but at what cost?
Yeah.
If we don't ever connect the dots between our financial decisions, the food we eat, the air we breathe, the health of our communities, then we're missing the point. And I think Taste the Impact is about pulling the curtain back on some of those decisions and recognizing that our investments are not neutral. They always fund something, so why not fund something that benefits us?
Yeah, you know what? I also think it's safe to say that most of those conversations are pretty boring. And we just wanted to make it a little bit more interesting because we know that the reality is people do value entertainment. And so there's nothing wrong with entertaining people and hopefully giving them something to think about along the way. What does investing for better mean for you personally?
For me, it means investing with intention, not just chasing returns, but asking who profits from this, who's harmed, making sure that our money reflects our values, whether that's through sustainable funds, supporting women-led business. It's really not about perfection, because I know people go there. It's about progress and about using our money for good. So as the co-executive producer, creative mind, at least one half of it, and not the better half.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, how do you want people to feel after they watch Taste the Impact?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big conversation. And so I think the big thing is that we just want people to think about it. We want to help them draw the connection between what they do, not just as consumers, but the role that they play in shaping society as investors. I think when we talk about passive investing, and we talk about that a lot in our book and on our podcast, but there's value in giving yourself a sense of ease when it comes to thinking about investing, but there's an issue with that distance, right? You don't really understand what you're invested in oftentimes, and I think this is an opportunity to examine that and to help people not just think about being able to create change as consumers, but also to think about it from an investing perspective.
Now, you said think, I said feel.
Well,
I want them to feel.
Well, I want them to feel a little hungry too, right? But I do think I want them to feel moved. I want people to say, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I want them to feel more than anything empowered and not overwhelmed once they realize some of the things that they can do to help create change in the world that we're in.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the hardest part of telling this story? Yeah.
I think for me, it was balancing the urgency of the issue with hope.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about real harm. We're talking about how people's health, access, and futures are impacted by a system that's designed for profit and not for people. But if all we do is point out the problems, then nothing changes. The challenge was making sure that we weren't just exposing the issues, but actually showing that there were solutions.
Yeah, I agree.
So was there any statistic or fact that you learned while we were shooting that you can't unsee now?
There were several. I think the 70% of the world is lactose intolerant.
I actually Googled that afterwards because I'm like, surely she don't mean that.
Well,
But it's true.
I think it just goes to show like the disconnect between the products that are readily available at every turn and the actual nutritional needs of the people, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's a major disconnect there. And we had some ice cream, but it was actually dairy free. And that was the
Y'all's
first
was.
time.
I had all the dairy.
That was the first time I'd ever had it. I'd never even thought about it.
Yeah.
I always thought it was sort of a, given that it had to be dairy, but it was actually really, really good. So shout out to the ice cream shop that we visited. But it also made me think of Super Bowl because I don't normally go to Super Bowl parties. I went to a Super Bowl party and that was the most cream cheese I've had in years. And so
Did it mess you up?
I felt, yeah.
You might be part of the 70%.
Listen, I felt like a chief the next day. It was, it wasn't great.
The stat that I can't unsee actually didn't come from our video. It came from the book Activate Your Money by Janine Firpo. And it was the stat that said if women in the US shifted an average of $20,000 from their existing savings and investments into financial products that align with their values, an additional $2.5 trillion would move.
Yeah.
$2.5 trillion of our existing investments. Now, obviously, some of us don't have $20,000 in investments, but some of us have considerably more. And so even if every woman can't move $20,000, the ones that can move more can make up for the ones that can't. And we're talking $2.5 trillion. Like, who's not paying attention when $2.5 trillion moves?
I know I would. So you actually went through the investment circle experience. Why don't you share a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, it was different than any other investment club or even like cohort-based course that I've ever been a part of. There's so many things that make this different beyond just the content itself. It's very hard to find impact investing advice that is taught this way by people who are like-minded and actually trying to do good with you. But I think the biggest differentiator was how it made me feel. And I know that sounds very woo-woo, but sometimes you leave a money class or a course and you feel a little greedy.
Yeah.
You feel a little like you were put onto something that you have to keep in a box, like all to yourself. And with this, I just felt empowered. I felt like I could do something. I felt like I wanted to share it. The women that were in my group was such a diverse group. I don't know how I would have had access to these women and their wisdom any other way.
Yeah.
We had women who were 70, we had women in their 20s, we had venture capitalists, we had accredited investors.
Climatologist, you said.
Yes, she's a former climatologist turned venture capitalist. We had, elders, we had young people, people with debt, people who were used to investing. And this is a small group, but
Yeah.
over time you learn all of these characteristics about your cohort and you just really are able to support each other. I went through my group a year ago this summer, and we still meet on a quarterly basis just to catch up. And it's so cool. And then you get to be a part of the wider Invest for Better network of alumni and other experts. They have events all the time. It is a gem of an organization, and I'm so happy to be working with them to spread the message.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. If you had to describe Taste the Impact in 3 words, what words would you use?
Taste the impact? I mean, that's already 3 words.
Those are my 3 words. I'm gonna just go ahead and take that. Taste it.
I'm gonna borrow from the Queen Bee: money, power, and respect.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. I like that.
See?
I like that. That works.
You should have gave me like 5 words.
Nah,
I got
you might.
I need more than 3.
There's one thing that you think people can take away from watching Taste the Impact. What would you say it is?
You're always giving me limitations. One thing.
Just one. I'm trying
I think it is to get rid of the myth of neutrality. Our money is never neutral. The places we save it, spend it, invest it, all of it is impacting something. All of it has some sort of ripple effect. And the question we should be asking ourselves is, what kind of effect do we want it to have?
Yeah. My one thing I would say is to just enjoy it. I think it's easy for people to be overwhelmed by these kinds of things because it's such a big, complicated, and intermingled conversation. But I think hopefully the food and the laughs and just the good company makes people feel like they are taking part in the conversation and they're able to kind of be a fly on the wall and get a little something out of it as well.
Yes, all right, so join us. First, watch Taste the Impact. Second, head on down to the description, click the link, learn more, sign up for the wait list, join us, add to the comments. You know what to do. You already know what to do. Y'all know us. Let's make a circle. I didn't think you were gonna do it.
It feels so weird.